Oh, is this thing on? I think it might be. Hello, you lot. Millicorn here. Welcome back to another live stream. And I'm well aware it started about 3 minutes early, but frankly, I'm impatient and I didn't have time to watch any more Top Gear on iPlayer. So we're starting 3 minutes early. I'm not going to do anything significant. I was going to say I'm not going to do anything significant until we start. I don't think I've ever done anything significant on one of these live streams. But I'll just let people flood in and let you, in the meantime, admire my marvelous hair and beard combination there. The blind in the corner is unfortunate. I did want to leave it open, but the weather's looking a bit terrible, and with it open, the contrast on the camera goes mental, and it just looks like the heavens are opening behind me. So that's going to have to be shut, unfortunately. Who we got? Hello, everybody. Yes. Hello, Simone. Yes. Thank you very much. Yes. Nice haircut. Thank you very much. When was it last cut? I'm trying to think, because it was coming up for due for a cut. As we went into lockdown, actually, because you can see in the GTV collection video, it already looks a bit long. So I'm probably over 3 months due for a haircut. So basically, when I do actually eventually have this trimmed, my body weight will half. Yeah, it really is significant. I mean, if I do that, that's some significant weight transfer there. Yes, hello, Toby Tech Designs. Hello, thank you for watching. Ruby Cupid MB, that's hard to say quickly. Hello, thank you for watching. Jack DR, my good man, thank you very much for watching. I'll just let everyone drop in for a bit, as opposed to, come and take your seat. You, madam, coming at the back with your cup of tea, take your seat. You're right, you're still early, we're starting early. Dean Galpin, we're already kicking off the questions, it would seem. How's the Super Seicento? Here, it's existing. It hasn't moved. Yeah, it hasn't moved since we picked it up and I brought it back from where I was living. So it's now living with me, it's on the drive, but I've been so busy with the Alpha and with work stuff, it genuinely hasn't moved in a month. So it's good, it's fine. I haven't even checked if the battery's still got some charge. It should be fine. Callum, good evening. Enduro Mofo, hello. Mcm Cars, thank you, my friend. Thank you. Yes, that is the main point of this. 6,000 subscribers have pretty much coincided with this live stream. So thank you all so much. But yes, Mcm Cars, thank you for watching, my friend. Thank you very much. Buy 126. Yeah, if you buy one for me, then I'll have one. I'm too busy fixing an Alpha to go and buy another Fiat. Derek, how am I keeping? I'm keeping fine, thank you. As you can see by the hair and the beard, my hair situation is keeping magnificently. We're still letting people flood in. I'm well aware it's still early, so I'm not going to say anything significant, or again, nothing ever gets said significant in one of these live streams, does it? Simone, thank you very much. When am I putting a 1.4T in the Seicento? Yeah, when budget allows. Stunning photo of the GTV. Thank you very much. I'm going to divert attention away from that straight away. Not my photo. The car was owned by Kelsey Media, who I work for, and the car was in a photo shoot, and I got those photos sent to me. I asked for them. So those aren't my photos of the GTV. In fact, all the ones on my social media, only a couple of them are actually taken by me, and most of them are the car in bits, because I haven't had a chance to photograph it properly yet because I've been too busy working on the damn thing. I've only washed it once. Ruby Cupid, if you could have any small car that's not a Seicento, what would you have? I'm not going to cheat and say Cinquecento like I was thinking of doing. 126, although, yeah, 126 would be cool, but it depends on your definition of small, because I do like a CRX. Honda CRX is a riot, but are we calling that small in the traditional sense? Up for debate. Archie Bishop, I'm very well, thank you, my friend. How are you? Thoughts on Lupos? Never driven one. I do like Lupos. I like what you can do to them. Lupo GTIs are wicked. Future classic for sure. They're modern classic already. They've never been cheap, have they? But yeah, big fan of Lupos, and I like what you can do to them. And if truth be told, I like how modifiable they are, because the VAG community do like they like modifications, and so much of it is interchangeable. Stuff like putting a 1.8T into a Lupo, squeezing over 200 horsepower out of it, or double that, or triple it if you're really mental. It's not out of the realms of viability. So yeah, I love how tunable they are, and they're still cheap for the time being, but I'm a Seicento man at heart. What else have we got? Looking slick, thank you very much. I put particular effort in. How's the bike, Archie Bishop? It's all good. The Kawasaki is still around. You've seen it. You would have seen it in the background of the GTV Everything Wrong With video, because I just washed it before I washed the Alpha. It's still around. It's in good health. Nothing's been done to it. No, nothing's been done to it since you last saw it. I've just been enjoying it, actually, and the weather's, not today, but the weather's nice again, so it's just nice to get back out on the bike. But there will be bike videos coming, but I'm potentially not going to do any videos on the bike for a little while because I don't want to have it off the road for more than a day or two at a time because the summer's here. That's why I own a bike, is because of the summer. So let's keep it on the road over the summer. The project stuff on the Kawasaki might wait till the autumn or even the winter. We'll see. But yeah, it's still around, still loving it. I've changed your mind about Alphas. I always stayed clear because of their perceived lack of quality. Richard Bullock, they are indeed worth a look. This is one thing I keep coming back to with the GTV. Yes, it drives me mental to work on the thing. There are so many finicky, fiddly, crappy little things about it that are just a job that would take 10 minutes on a regular car takes an hour on the Alpha because you've got to pull off 3 different things that you all have to pull the whole car apart to get to. Like with the door mirrors, you've got to undo the door card to pull them out. Yeah, it's a faff to work on, but it is quite well made. I mean, that car I've got, 131,000 mile car, and the only thing that's technically broken on it is the heated rear window, which is a really, really it boils down to effectively a fuse. They're quite well made, and that interior has lasted well. It's a well-made car. I'm impressed. Do I like the Ford S-Max, says Ruby Cupid MB. I do, if you're going to have the one with the 5-pot turbo from a Focus ST. That I can get on board with, because I think that's the ultimate dad wagon. If I suddenly decide to have 5 kids, that's what I'm getting. Hello from Greece. Thank you very much. I can't say your name. I'm not going to attempt it. I'm sorry, but thank you very much. You know who you are. You fixed your Rover 75. You mean Rover 75, not Alpha 75. Either way, cool car. Would you say Alphas are really unreliable compared to other cars, or is this a myth of the past? I don't know if I'm well qualified enough to judge. I've only owned the GTV. I've driven a 50s Giulietta Spider, or that was for one day, and it suffered from a bit of fuel starvation, although that could have been down to fuel evaporation because it was a hot day and we had the car turning on and off a lot, so that could have been just poor, user error. I've driven my editor's Series 4 Spider, and he said he's owned that car for 23 years and had no reliability problems at all with it, ever. In that time he's owned it, apart from one time the battery let go, and that's hardly an Alpha problem, is it? It's an old knackered battery. So I think it is a thing of the past, but approach with caution is all I'm going to say, because I have a passing look at cars for sale like we all do, and I was looking at 159s earlier, and the amount of 159s that have had replacement engines, replacement gearboxes, major components replaced or rebuilt in a car that's not very old, I don't think it's necessarily a thing of the past. And indeed, Mcm Cars, if you're still watching, go and watch his video on potentially why Alpha's Giulia was dead upon arrival because of Alpha's poor customer service. So the cars aren't bulletproof yet, unfortunately. But the GTV, yeah, the quality on it is definitely there. I'm struggling to keep up now. How much is it to insure my bike? I've got it on third-party fire and theft, I think. I don't think it's all fully comprehensive because that was like £2,000. I can't remember off the top of my head. It's somewhere around 350 quid. It's about the same to insure the Kawasaki as it was to insure my YBR 125. The theory being, if you've taken the time and the money to actually get better as a biker, hypothetically, you might be more careful. So insurance for bigger bikes tends to be slightly cheaper than 125s. So yeah, it's the, because I was looking at either an ER5, a Bandit like my dad's got, or a Honda Hornet. For a Bandit and a Hornet, you have to restrict them, which adds cost, and it's more expensive on the insurance. That ER5 came up at the right price. As you know, I did a Mighty Car Mod and bought it sight unseen. But it turned out all right in the end after having the whole carbs rebuilt. Anyway, what else? Hello, Fraser Berry. Hello, Team Bolino Classics. Yes, hello, greetings from Northern Ireland. For those of you that don't know the Viewers Cars video, that was that beautiful Mini. That was gorgeous. Lovely car, my friend. Does the front of my Alpha get Jeremy Clarkson sexually excited? Well, mine probably doesn't, with the lack appeal on the front bumper that it had. It doesn't have that anymore. I don't know. We could find out. That'd be a good Q&A. Do I like the Alpha Mito? I do like the Mito. The Mito's a weird one. I feel like I'm almost compelled to like it because it's an Alpha, but objectively, the Punto is a better car in that it's cheaper and it's more spacious and it can look better. The Mito I do like, but I don't know. It doesn't get me going. I don't know what it is, but not bad. I don't mind. Finley Plimpton, you certainly can have a shout out. Thank you for watching, my friend. What car is that in your icon? Citroen Diane, is that? Don't know what that is. 159 subframes are the big thing, says JM again. Yeah, that's the other thing. So quality isn't quite there on the newer stuff, and Julia's again suffer with it. And Stelvio's to a certain extent, although not quite as much. But I think it's Motor Trends had a long-term quadrifoglio, Julia, and they were fairly damning of the reliability of it. So I want Alpha to succeed. I think we all do, but who knows? I'm just glad they're under the watchful eye of Fiat. Hopefully they'll keep them afloat regardless of any problems they have. Cody Dagley, my man from Canada, is watching. Hello, my friend. Thank you for tuning in. Buy a 2CV. I'd love a 2CV. They're wicked fun. Thoughts on the Alpha Brera, says Chandler York. Is that Edgel or Edgel? Chandler. Thoughts on the Alpha Brera? I really like the Brera. I happen to know my dad is a particular fan of the Brera, actually. And when I was talking about buying the GTV, he was trying to convince me to get a Brera instead. And I see why. They are beautiful, beautiful thing. And again, they're a bit more modern than the GTV. So you do get that comes with the pros and cons of having a more modern car, obviously. So I won't write off having a Brera one day or a 159. Wool's Wheels, as a mini man, I have to say, yeah, that Traveller is beautiful. Cody Dagley, yeah, he says one of my favourite Alphas is the 146. Ooh, there's a car we all forgot existed. 146 is lovely. Those of you that know Mr. Furious Driving on YouTube, Matt Richardson, he's got a 155, is it? I find myself attracted to 155s ever more, even though they're more striking than beautiful, which is weird for an Alpha. Generally, they are drop dead gorgeous like the GTV. But the 155 I find myself attracted to, oddly. Yeah, Breras are gorgeous. Yeah, big fan. 145. There you go. Cody's chimed in again. It is a 145. Beg pardon. Breras are a bit heavy. They are very. Mind you, actually, here's the thing. Without Googling it, here's the first person. I want you all to just immediately drop your answer in the comments now. How much do you think my GTV weighs in stock form, 2-litre twin-spark GTV, without Googling it? How much do you think my car weighs? Because you might be surprised by that. Just put it in the comments now. How much does the GTV weigh at a guess? Stick it in the comments now. Thoughts on the Peugeot 205? Love the Classics World video you did. Yes, if you follow Classics World, which is effectively my day job, you will know that, yes, I bought a 400 quid, 201,000 mile Peugeot 205 as part of our cheap car challenge we did. And it's a bit of a nugget, that thing, but I really like it. The guesses are coming in. 900 kilograms, 1,150, 1.2 tons, 1,300. Cody Dagley says 3,000 pounds. Yeah, there you go. Ziga Verin, I think that's how you pronounce your name. I do apologise. Yeah, 1,450. That 2-litre car with a lot of plastic bodywork on it weighs nearly 1.5 tons. They're really heavy for what they are. So I don't think a Brera weighs any more than that does, which is surprising, really. Thoughts on the Alfa Romeo GT, says Archie Bishop. Yeah, the Alfa GT is a car that it goes unloved, I think. It's taken me a while to appreciate the way they look. I thought the front was a little bit bland compared to the GTV, and the rear was a bit heavy, and the profile was a bit Megane coupe-ish, and I don't think any of that anymore. I've really come around to GT. I think they're a really good-looking car. That could be a logical next Alfa from my GTV. Actually, the logical evolution would be to go GTV, GT, Brera, 4C. Yeah, not going to happen, is it? 205, yes. So hang on, I'm just struggling to keep up the questions now. Mcm Cars, yeah, 40. Yeah, the Brera is the same as a Nissan GTR. Yeah, there you go. And they certainly don't go like a GTR does, do they? Yeah, Breras are really heavy, 17 or even 1,800 kilograms. Yeah, they're a genuinely really heavy car, which I can kind of get because it's a bit of a GT, but if you've only got a 2-litre petrol Brera, I don't imagine it moves. Sorry, yes, so we'll come back to the 205. So yes, for those of you that don't know, my day job is I'm head of video for Classics World, the YouTube channel. Go and check it out. And we drew figures out of a hat to buy new classic project cars. I drew a budget of 750 quid, and I went and bought for 400 quid a 201,000 mile Peugeot 205 diesel. It's a bit tatty and it's a bit of a nugget, but I love it. It's so much fun. The plans with it, I'm not going to reveal them. You'll have to stay tuned to Classics World and pick up Classic Car Buyer newspaper / magazine to find out what happens with the Peugeot. But yes, that's still around and I really like it. I've been using that as my daily hack for the time being. Yeah, it's good fun. Still got the bike, Jordan Scott. Yes, I do. The Kawasaki's not going anywhere. We just haven't done any videos on it lately, but there might be one coming in the near future. Yeah, heavier than a Giulietta. Yeah, the Brera is a genuinely heavy car. Since being such a big Fiat fan, do you know much about 130s or Dinos? My father had a few when I was growing up and always thought they were incredible classics. Now they go for large amounts of money. They do. I was watching the Car SOS when they did a Fiat Dino last week, and beautiful thing, gorgeous, sounds incredible. And I thought, right, I'm having one of those then. Jumped online and discovered that they're actually about 70 grand or more. I don't know anything about them apart from the fact they use a Ferrari Dino V6, obviously, but big fan. If I could have one, definitely. Mcm Cars, I'm going to have to love you and leave you. Editing a video of an Olds 442. Oh, fantastic. Love a big old yank tank. James, thank you for dropping in, my friend. Speak to you soon. We need to do something together again when this is all cleared up. So, yeah, stay safe. But what else we've got? Archie Bishop, Mitsubishi FTO. Yes. Yeah, I like them. It's the same with all these things with the FTO, isn't it? They're a really cool looking little thing. They sound good. If they'd been turbo and four-wheel drive and manual, they'd be all over the place. But you can apply that to pretty much anything, can't you? FTOs I do really like. I fancy a go in an FTO. I probably wouldn't buy one because they strike me as being quite thirsty. Can anyone comment on that? 6-cylinder auto, probably quite thirsty. They were once cheap. I presume you mean Fiat Dinos. Yeah, they were. They really, really were. These days, you genuinely need Ferrari money. You need as much as a good Ferrari 360 costs to get into a Fiat Dino. It's incredible. Yellow 205 looks awesome. Thank you very much. Yeah, there you go. And Cody's chimed in as well. Cheap cars with character. Yeah, that little Peugeot is wicked. Yeah, so if you're watching this, when we finish today, go and jump on the Classics World YouTube channel. Have a look at some of our videos because it would be a massive help to me if you could. But also, that 205 is a wicked little nugget. Big fans. Ollie James. Let's try that again. Ollie James says the ultimate European road trip if you exclude Italiano Squadre. I'm not going to reveal that because it might be happening. Thoughts on Mr. Hubnut's latest purchase? He's bought a Mitsubishi Delica. I really like Delicas. I think this is such a cool thing. My dad has owned two Shoguns, second-generation Shoguns, a V6 and a diesel Pajero. So I like Mitsubishis of that era anyway, Evos and FTOs, as it turns out. Yeah, Delicas are cool, and he's bought one, which means it's going to be an epitome, a magnificent condition collectible vehicle, I'm sure. So I keep not answering this question, Ruby Cupid MB. I do apologise. How much was your Citroen? If you're meaning the second one, I don't know how much money I've got into it, and frankly, I'm scared to find out, and I'm never ever going to look it up because I don't care. Forever car, I don't actually care how much I've got into it. But I think the second was about 500 quid. I think. The numbers are a bit odd because it was my parents said, they'd give me they paid for it a bit of it for my birthday, so the numbers are a bit odd. I can't remember exactly how much it was, but somewhere around 500 quid. It was quite a high mileage. It was like 110,000 miles when I bought it, but I knew that pretty much all of it would be getting pulled off and put mods on it, so the mileage didn't bother me. As long as it wasn't rotten and it was road legal enough to make it home, that was all I cared about. It had two of those things, and now look where we are. Mark 2B Fiat Punto Sporting 1.4. What do you think about those? Have you ever driven it? No, I've only driven one Punto, and that was my 2012 Twin Air. Try saying that 3 times quickly. A 1.4 Sporting. Yeah, I quite like those, actually. If you've got a yellow one, particularly. Yes, the Punto Mark 2s, my predictions are, because Mark 1 Puntos, even not just Punto GT Turbos, the actual just regular Mark 1 Puntos, are going up in value now because they used to be common and now they're not because they got used and abused and thrown away. Mark 1 Puntos are going up in value a bit, and I reckon that will happen with Mark 2s. So if you can find a good one, if yours is a good one, Ziga Veren, again, I apologise if I butchered that, hold on to it because I reckon they will be appreciating in the near future. Saying this as a man who owns small Fiats. They all appreciate, they're all worth millions of pounds. FT slow, 30 is like, yeah, they're not fast, unfortunately. I was going to say, I reckon the Citroen will give it a run for its money. That's tempting fate, isn't it? Yeah, Cody said, yeah, they're very cool. Love the style. They're very Gran Turismo, aren't they? I like them. 90s Japanese stuff. I'm sorry, I'm into Italian stuff, but 90s Japanese stuff, hell, 90s stuff in general. If you've been keeping up with Mighty Car Mods, you'll know about their two new 90s JDM cars, and I love them both. Thoughts on the Peugeot 406 Coupe? Oh, there's a car I haven't thought about in a Someone around the corner from me has got two, and I really like them. I've always thought they were a cool looking car, and I go, oh my God, the comments are scrolling away. Come back, come back. I genuinely am struggling to keep up on wittering on so much. 406 coupes, I'll keep it brief. They look brilliant. They're cheap, and you can get one with a V6. Do it. Like them. Big fan. Pininfarina. Styling. Much like a certain Alfa Romeo. My dad had a diesel 205 1.8, did 210,000 miles in it, had it for 18 years, and it never broke down. Bingo. That's the one. For those of you that don't know, the one I've bought with someone else's money. It's a 92 205 Junior diesel. It's done 202,000 miles now, and it was 400 quid, and it's bright yellow, and I've painted the steel wheels white so it looks a bit like a rally, and I'm smiling just thinking about it. It's a really good fun little car that deserves to be saved. Go and check out Classics World for more stuff on that. Peugeot 106 project asks Matt Turner, got to be some rally spec mods on a 1.1 bargain basement spec. Probably not, to be honest. I like 106s, but I think if I'm going to have a second project, it's going to be something other than a cheap 90s nugget, and I've got one of those already. So I'd like to drive a 106 rally, though. I've actually been offered by a viewer who's got three really interesting cars, and one of them is a clean Saxo VTS, and he's offered that when this is all over, I can come and drive them. That will be happening because the Saxo VTS is an icon for my generation, all the max power stuff, obviously, and this is a clean, unmolested, mint Saxo VTS. Yes, please. Great road trip story if anyone wants to have a read. I think I've missed something there, Cody. I think you might have cut your comment off. Richard Bullock asks, thoughts on the Alfa Romeo Arna? I'm trying to think of something to say that isn't a generic Arna comment. Could do better. Alpha collaborations with another company got better from there on. Let's put it that way. Will I get a Punto Sporting? Probably not. I may get another Punto. I still think there's avenues unexplored with the Punto. I feel like I didn't give it a fair chance. I need to tap into some unexplored avenues on the Punto. I think maybe a more performance-y one is all I'm going to say. Because everyone said, the reason you didn't like it is because you bought the Twin Air, and I'm going to agree with that. The Twin Air engine, I was really disappointed with. It wasn't economical, wasn't refined, wasn't quick by most stretches of the imagination, and as we found out, it cost a fortune to service for no real return other than some lawnmower noises. Twin Air, I was disappointed with. That was a gutting engine. I'm going to scroll back up because I'm losing the comments again. Would you rather have a Delta Integrale Evoluzione 2 or an Alfa Romeo SZ? I genuinely don't know. Oh, Integrale or an Alfa SZ? I'll tell you what we'll do, actually. This is a good segue again. In a few weeks' time, there's a video coming out on Classics World, which was all of the members of our team have done a Q&A. Sorry, I knocked the table. And one of the questions is your 5-car dream garage. One of those cars that you've mentioned features. Watch that video. You'll find out which one I pick. Surprising amount of second-gen Punto Abarths for sale for export in Japan. Yeah, they seem to like Italian stuff in Japan. There's loads of 80s Alpha Spiders in Japan as well. Most memorable cars are usually the cheapest ones for good or bad reasons. Yeah, actually thinking about it, I've had far better memories with cheap nuggety cars, my own and other people's, than I did with the Punto, which wasn't particularly cheap, wasn't particularly nuggety. Yeah, I forget I owned that car occasionally. That's how forgettable it was. The FTO did 37 mpg on the motorway. Does it really? Fair enough. Mark 1 Punto convertible. I do like them. I like the idea of doing a Punto GT turbo swapping one. That'd be wicked. No, it wouldn't. Yeah, Mark 1 Punto cabrios I do like. I very nearly stuck a bid in on one at an auction about 6 months ago. According to Google, it does 37 to the gallon. Has any FTO owner ever got 37 to the gallon? Saxo is a death trap. Most 90s cars are, to be fair. Most small 90s cars are death traps. But you'll die with a grin on your face because wicked little car. Where did I buy the kit for the headlights on my Citroen? Asks Dean Galpin. I didn't buy a kit, Dean. I bought it as individual bits. If you go to the video Building My Dream Citroen, I outline each and every bit I needed, and I think I even left in the description a list of everything you're going to need. The only thing that is going to be a sticking point now is the clear lenses, the clear plastic lenses, because I got them done by a company called Axlab Plastics, and a few more batches they'd done after they did mine, they said they're not going to produce them for a while. So I don't know where you're going to get them from. But yeah, go and check out Building My Dreams Citroen. All the details are in there, basically. And if you want to follow along and build them, you can. I didn't do it because I didn't feel confident enough. I didn't have the free time at that point. But Seb, legend, he came through and did it for me. So thank you, Seb, if you're watching. I'm going to have to take a drink because I'm talking way too much. Saxo VTS is a beaut. Yeah, amazing to find one that hasn't been stolen, rusted away, or crashed. Yeah, it's about the size of it. Jamie FID's one, if you remember the Saxo that Jamie had, appeared to have been all three, stolen, rusted, and crashed, which is probably why it's no longer with us. Thoughts on the Hyundai Accent? Do you think it was as bad as Top Gear made out? I'm going to stick my neck out here and say no. Because the thing is, you look at Korean and Malaysian cars of that era, kind of mid-2000s, they weren't bad. They were just uninspiring. A lot of them. And Cody Dagley, he's watching. He's got a Hyundai Accent. He loves it. And I think the truth of the matter is, people seem to over-expect from them. Yes, they weren't as refined as a Polo or a Fiesta, but they cost 2/3 as much. And the same is the case these days. Yes. I don't think it's even is the case, actually. If you go and get a new Hyundai, I went in an i30, not even an i30N, and I was really impressed with how nice they are. So I think chances are Top Gear made it look worse than it was for television. And fair play, it made good television. But all I would say is if you need cheap transport, the fact of the matter is, for the same money that you'd pay for a 15-year-old Golf, you might get a 6 or 7-year-old Hyundai. And frankly, that's worth looking at in my eyes. Jimmy Thomas asks, how many BHP did my twin air Punto have? On paper, I think it was 84. I think it never felt that quick, but it's a big, squidgy modern car, so understandable. 0 to 60 was, I want to say about 11, I think, off the top of my head. Someone Google that. Someone tell me the answers I should be giving in the comments. Chandler asks again, my thoughts on the Renault Aventime. Oh, I like the Aventime. I've got a bit of a soft spot for early 2000s Renaults in general because my dad worked at Renault in the early 2000s. And we've had a string of Renaults in our family. We've had 3 Scenics, we've had a Spas, we've had a 19, we've had a 21, we've had a Laguna, multiple 21s. My dad had a Fuego. Do you remember Fuegos? Are there any of those left? Yeah, I like Renaults, and the Aventime is willingly different and wild, and I love them. If they were a bit cheaper, I'd have fun. In fact, my girlfriend and I were genuinely talking about in the future when we need a daily car to put things in and put the dogs in and things like that, would an Aventime be viable? So yeah, don't be surprised if we buy one of those in 5 years' time or something. Where are we up to? I keep losing your comments. Thank you all for watching and commenting, by the way. This is genuine. This is the most comments we've ever had on something like this. Live stream, that is. What about an Alfa Busso? What about an Alfa Busso? I like them. They sound amazing. They look beautiful. Yes, please. Yes, we did get accents over here, Cody. You're quite right. MGF and TF, any thoughts? Asks Matt Turner. I've never driven one. A colleague has got one. A colleague has got a VVC MGF. OMG, right? And all I will say is there's a Fiesta ST with a pop and bang remap just driven past my window. All I would say with the MGF is this. Those who love them and maintain they're sweet to drive and the engine's nice and they handle well. And I like them. I do like them on what I know about them. I haven't actually driven one. But all I will say is spend a bit of money on one. Because the colleague of mine who bought one, I think he paid 900 quid. And since owning it from like December of last year, he's put about that again into it with things like recharging the hydrogas and a new exhaust manifold. And he's come in whinging every Monday morning about how much of a pain in the arse it is to work on. So spend a bit of money, buy a good one. And I think you'll have a fun little car that is investable, but for God's sake, get the head gasket upgraded. I know it's a common joke, but it's a cliche for a reason. Considering adding on to the Alpha 147 and the stash of minis. Alpha 147 and the stash of minis. You like welding, don't you? No, that's unfair. Will I ever buy a Fiat Cinquecento? Never say never. I'm keen to experience one and see how different they are to a Seicento. And I feel like I'm engrossed enough in the Seicento stuff now that I want to, sample the other side of the metaphorical Fiat wall. Will I ever buy a non-Italian car? Asks Stron. Yes, of course I will. I've been already thinking about what I'm going to buy after the Alpha. and I've got things going around in my head of, is it going to be another Alpha? Is it going to be another Fiat of some sort? Or I was thinking about just buying an old Merc, like a 190E or something like that, just as a big, comfortable smoker that I can drive to and from film shoots in and does 40 odd to the gallon if you get a diesel one. Yeah, I could fancy an old Merc, actually. That'd be quite cool. JH, try saying that 3 times quickly, says, I love your fascination with small cars. I've got a Citroen C1. Oh, modern day nugget. Do like the C1. They make a wicked noise. Love to drive an MGF or TF. Yeah, I would too, actually. We're all, lots of support for the Citroen C1 in the comments. Thoughts on the Yaris T-Sport? I feel like I've answered this question before in a previous live stream. Yeah, I like the Yaris T-Sport. Big fan. Cool little thing. Cheap, good fun, and decent power for what they are. And if you want to go almighty car mods, you could stick an eBay turbo on it and make many horsepowers briefly. I'm losing comments. I do apologize. The pervert. Do I have nits? No, I don't. I've just got really long hair. I do apologize. Saxo VTS or 106 GTI. They're broadly the same. If I'm buying it to keep, probably the Peugeot, because I prefer the looks of the Peugeot. If I'm buying it to sell, the Saxo, because Saxo VTS values are rocketing. Peugeot ones are as well, but Saxo ones are going slightly higher. Hi from the Netherlands, says K Vonky. Hello, thank you for watching. Thought about buying a Citroen and swapping it. Ended up with an Alfa Brera. Fair play, good man. If you've got taste in Alphas and Fiats, then you're welcome here. Simone says Clarkson was way too harsh on cars. I agree. And the trouble is, you watch early Clarkson from like the late 80s, early 90s, and he was genuinely quite considered. He would point out a car's good points and bad points. I mean, he liked the Rover 800 Coupe when he first reviewed it and then went on to slate it because that's more interesting than saying, yeah, it's not bad. I've driven a Rover 800, by the way. Not bad at all, as long as you don't get a 2.7. And I think that's the problem. I think with the Clarkson Top Gear stuff and still on Grand Tour, they're giving opinions and perspectives on cars that more make good television than are actually correct. So don't disregard it entirely, because they have been right about some things Clarkson haven't made, and they do still make entertaining programs, but don't take what they say about cars as gospel, is all I'm going to say, because I've driven cars that Clarkson's hated and liked and vice versa. So, I mean, I'm not the authority on road testing cars. God, I'm no Chris Harris, but yeah, don't take what Clarkson says on cars as the be all and end all, is all I'm going to say. Do you think very popular cars such as the Mark I Focus will ever be collectible? The Focus is an interesting one because it was the sort of the dawn of a new era for Ford, and it won Car of the Year and Car of the Decade and Car of the Planet and best car in the entire galaxy. And they are very good. I've driven a Mark I Focus. I think it's the same with all collectible classic stuff. It's new, and then it's kind of a used old car, and then suddenly they all disappear and everyone wonders where they went. And then the few that are left are really good examples, and they are all suddenly worth more money because people get nostalgic for them. And we've seen this with 60s cars, we've seen it with 70s cars, we're seeing it with 80s cars as we speak. 90s cars are starting to get into that as well. Some of the stuff from the early 90s, particularly, look at Mark I MX-5s, look at what the values of those are going. And 10, 12 years ago, they were just everyday and cheap, and you saw them everywhere. So I think with 90s stuff like the Mark I Focus, it will become collectible. But again, it's going to be the early, first of all, it will be the performance stuff like the RSs and the STs, and gradually that will trickle down. Although Fords are an interesting one, because everything Ford, sorry, I keep playing with my hair. Everything Ford goes up in value eventually. That's the reality. Remember when XR3Is were worth like $1,000 10 years ago, and now they're worth 8, 9, 10 for the best? Yeah, I reckon that's a Ford tax thing. But yes, to answer your question, yes, I do think late 90s everyday stuff will become classic as they get more and more forgotten, and then more and more nostalgia gets associated with them. And I think that's just the lay of the land with those things. I was looking at Vauxhall Amigas, and I like Amigas, and I've suddenly realized that all the Mark I Vauxhall Amigas have gone. There are none left. So watch, give it a year or two, suddenly really, really mint Vauxhall Amigas that for some reason weren't turned into mini cabs will crop up out of nowhere, sell for 10 grand, and that'll be that. So yeah, start thinking about cars that used to be common, but now they're not. And that could be the next big thing, is all I'm going to say. But again, don't take my word for that. Used to own a GTV 2 litre, a V6 Turbo 146 and a Giulietta. K Vonky, you've got fantastic taste. Do I watch Formula One? Ask Wool's Wheels. Sorry, just nodded off at the thought of Formula One. No, I don't. I find it appallingly, dismally boring. I do follow British Superbike still. Go watch my video on that. Love British Superbike. Used to follow Rallycross, but not so much anymore. I don't really follow motorsport because I struggle to find time to keep up with it. It's like actual sport. I don't follow football or anything like that. It doesn't interest me. Formula One never really has. But I enjoy the historic stuff, like the Lotus Type 79 when they did that thing on Top Gear about the Lotus 79. Yeah, I can appreciate the history more than the modern stuff. Formula E could be exciting, but there is a danger of it just being a bit geared towards environment, and that's never going to excite people. So keep it driver focused, keep it petrol head, even though it's electric focused. Formula E could be something interesting. Aventime is stunning, you're correct. Thoughts on the 2008 to 2017 Seat Ibiza? I know nothing about them. A work colleague had one. That's the extent of my knowledge on the Seat Ibiza of that generation. But they're essentially a Polo, aren't they? So they're probably good. Cody, saw a Fuego for sale in Ontario. Needed some work when it ran. I bet it was rot as a pear because they rot in places unlike Canada. I know Canadian winters are particularly unforgiving, so that was likely rot as a peach. Could you get your brother to cut your afro hairdo? Haircut incoming. Ollie James, dream car, money, no object. Dream object at the moment is a drink of water. Dream car, money, no object. Now, this is an interesting one because I was talking with my girlfriend about this a little while back, and she managed to ascertain that even my dream cars are still not that unattainable. There's no like Bugatti Chiron or 250 GTO or anything ludicrously, stupidly expensive. Dream car, money, no object. I mean, I always said Ferrari 360, but I don't know if I'd actually want to own one because it would be a pain in the arse to own in so many ways. Fiat Dino Coupe. That'd be quite nice. Thoughts on the Alfa Mito? We've done this question already, DL Warren. Thank you for joining. We did this question about 10 minutes ago. Not bad, but does nothing for me. Wool's Wheels. I do like a good Renault. Love my Megane Classic. Yeah, Megane Classics are cool. Again, where have they all gone? The Gaming Biscuit. I'm trying to paint my plastics using Halford's plastic primer, grey metallic and petrol-proof lacquer. Do you have any tips to get a perfect finish? Doing it in the shed. Oh, I've done about 1 million videos on painting stuff. Let's keep it brief then. Clean the surface well beforehand. Never underestimate how much masking is required. Make sure the entire surface is glassy smooth to the touch throughout. If you look away from it and you can still feel a bump, get rid of it. Otherwise, you'll notice it. Keep the area well ventilated. When the paint is drying, keep the area totally locked off. Shut all the windows, shut all the doors. Don't let anyone go in there. And never underestimate how delicate you need to be when unmasking, because I've had paint come off when masking tape comes off. Don't do that. It will spoil your day. Best of luck. Whatever you're painting, hope it comes out well. Mad Moo, I found the mount for the Ultra Gauge. Oh, that's Matt. I don't need to thank you, mate. I'm using that suction mount, but thank you anyway. Ultra Gauge, by the way, is doing a blinding job. That's a really cool little thing. I like it. Fan of the Chrysler Crossfire. Yes, I am a fan of the Chrysler Crossfire for multiple reasons. One of the reasons is it's a bit different because the SLK does nothing for me. It's just a bit automatic metal folding roof. It's not really my thing. But the Crossfire is different, and you can get a manual, and I really like the way they look. And there's one crucial fact about the Chrysler Crossfire, which is why I particularly like it. One person watching right now, and you know who you are, will know why. That's all I'm going to say. There will be a video on a Crossfire in the near future, hopefully. That's all I'm going to say. But the Chrysler Crossfire holds a place in my heart for one very good reason. Matt Turner legitimately bought a MIG welder on lockdown. You're probably learning to weld them, my friend. Old Mercs are amazing. You're quite right. I've driven a few old Mercs, and I've driven a 190E. That was lovely. I've driven a W123, which was utterly lovely. And I've driven a W210, which was nice, but it's not quite got that old Merc vibe. Cody Dagley, a friend in Poland, has a 1998 Fiat 126P ELX, lots of letters, is looking at buying an FSO Polonaise Caro. Fantastic, my friend. Oh, I love Eastern Bloc stuff. I'm sorry. Thoughts on the original Fiat 500? Beautiful, magnificent, and one of the classiest small cars there are going. Big fan, love them. But sadly, the prices have gone stupid because rich hipsters are using them to get around London these days. So yeah, they're well out of my price bracket these days. But yeah, big fan, love them. Get a W210 E-Class you can find that hasn't been turned to dust. Yeah, the W210 I do like, but they are rotting away quite badly. Yeah, people underrate the Crossfire. It's a good point. They do. The Crossfire is, the trouble is, they're very much kind of everyone looks and goes, oh, it's American, piece of junk, they fall apart, but underneath it all, it's a Mercedes, which means the Mercedes bits are good, and it's the same with the 300C. That's an E-Class with that gorgeous body put over it. Why is that a bad thing? Yes, it's a bit plasticky, but think how cheap they were when they were new. That's what you've got to remember. Think about a car's provenance when it was new before you go slagging it off as a used car. Yes, it wasn't as good as a Mercedes E-Class, a new one inside, but it also didn't cost as much as an E-Class, and it looks way better in my opinion. So don't write off Chryslers. That's all I'm saying of that era. Opinions on the Suzuki X. I presume you mean X90. You put X80. I'm going to assume you mean X90. I want to be really mean about it because technically it's awful in that it looks ridiculous and they're slow and they can't really go off-road because they're only two-wheel drive, and they will probably topple over in a strong wind. But I quite like them. I'm sorry. They're just different and they're interesting, and that's enough to win my attention. I enjoy Clarkson, Hammond and May, but more so consider them entertainment rather than a car show. That's how I explain it to people, is that old Top Gear stroke Grand Tour is an entertainment show with cars. Current Top Gear is a car show with entertainment. And I think that's kind of what people need to realise. It's not a show made for petrolheads anymore, and hasn't been for about 20 years, unfortunately. But if you want a car show with Clarkson in it that is properly about cars, go and watch some 90s Top Gear or go and watch Clarkson's Car Years, because those are brilliant. I watch those. I watch Car Years. I rewatch all of them every sort of 6 months or so. Really, really good series. Yep, thanks for watching Team Bolio Classics. You're jumping away. Thank you for popping in, my friend, and congrats on having an awesome Mini. Keep in touch. That thing's wicked. Opinion on the Cappuccino. Oh, Suzuki Cappuccino. James Bradley, my friend, you have won my attention because they are wicked. I looked into buying one a little while ago, actually, but the trouble is most of the cheap ones are rot boxes because Japanese import, no undersealing, all that kind of stuff. But Cappuccinos, wicked. Brilliant little car, and they sound incredible and they look cool. And yeah, if anyone's got a non-rusty Cappuccino for like £4.50 they want to let me buy, then get in touch. Love them. What else have we got? Hey Joe, how's it going? Are you working? How's it going working full-time from home? Asks, are you sure you want to delete? I presume that's not your given birth name, is it? Yeah, going all right, thanks. The only trouble with working from home, as with so many of these things, is staying focused. It's very easy to just skive off and go and eat biscuits. But yeah, I get my work done. I still get to do the same awesome job, but now I live with my family, so you can't really argue. But yeah, coping all right, thanks. How is everyone doing, by the way? Lockdown-wise, how are you all doing? I hope you're not going too mental, unlike my hair. What else have we got? Opinion on the 2001 Mark 1 Renault Megane. Very specific there. Was 2001 a particularly good vintage for them or something? Yeah, I like them. I don't have very much experience with Meganes, but my mum has had 3 Megane Scenics and they're good. I've driven her Scenic and it just drives really, really nicely and it's comfortable. I think they're quite good looking for an MPV as well. Yeah, I like Renaults. Favorite modern Alpha from 2010 to 2020. That's going to be a toss-up between the 4C, obviously, and the Giulia Quadrifoglio. Now, on balance, probably I would choose the Giulia because it represented more of a turning point for Alpha in that people actually sat up and took notice, and not just because of the performance version. I really like the Giulia, and next Thursday, because Kelsey Media has Fast Car as well, and I do video for Fast Car, we are going to be filming a review of the Giulia Quadrifoglio. I'm not going to get to drive it, unfortunately, because most companies, their press car loan insurance doesn't cover anyone under 25, and I'm only 21, so I can't drive it, but I get to experience one, and that's going to be a good day. I'm going to try and bring the GTV along and get some photos together. That'd be cool. But yeah, so Julia QV. Did I ever consider the Alfa Romeo GT? Well, it's interesting circumstances, because I bought my GTV because the company I work for was selling it as the heavens open over my left shoulder. So I wasn't looking for a GTV, and that one was the one I chose. That one was for sale. It was a known car. It came up at the right price, so I bought it. But I am thinking about a GT sometime in the future. I think an Alfa GT is a forgotten gem, and I think the prices have never really hit rock bottom, because time was GTVs were 500 quid, and GTs still haven't hit that. I don't think they're going to. So I may look into a GT one day. And there's a few people asking about them, which is reassuring to know that if I did buy a GT, people would still be interested. And it's an Alfa, which is different enough. And it's an unloved Alfa, which makes it all more interesting to me. So yeah, I think a GT could be on the cards one day. Thoughts on the Citroen C2? Seems a bit Marmite. I've got no real opinion on the C2. I like the interior, and they look cool from the outside. I've got no large opinion on them because I don't know enough about them. I'm going to have to, right, give me 5 seconds. I'm going to close this blind because the light's coming in. Apologies, we're now sorted. Yeah, I don't have any massive opinion on the C2, but they're cool for what they are. What else? Citroen Saxo, question mark. Yes, we like the Saxo, particularly VTSs and VTRs. My dream car is a Jaguar XJ220, followed by a Mark III Cortina. Those of you that watch your Ashes to Ashes will know that Gene Hunt would approve of that answer. The DL Warren says the Citroen C2 has the best indicator noise of any car. There's an accolade, isn't it? I think Sniff Petrol could probably do something about that. I know what the worst indicator noise in a car is. It's the new Aston Martin Vantage. That's got an appalling indicator noise. It sounds like an indicator being muffled by a pillow. Go and Google it. Seriously, it sounds terrible. It'd be awesome to see a tutorial on getting insurance as an 18-year-old. For many, it's quite complicated, I've noticed, and picking the perfect car for their price range. Asks unknown. I would name you if your name was there. That would be an interesting one. The trouble is it's very specific, and I know a lot of my viewers are in the UK, but if you're not, the information is not relevant to you, and you might not worry because the insurance might not be a total and utter con where you live. If it is, like if you live in the UK, I do apologise. Yeah, would you be interested in that video on young drivers insurance and a few little tips and tricks? I used to work at an insurance company, so I do know a few little things you can do to get your insurance a bit cheaper. Are we interested in that? Let me know. It's in the bike insurance video. Yeah, bike insurance wasn't too expensive for me, and I'm sort of cracking on with that, really. The bike insurance has never been terribly ruinous, but I've never gone fully comprehensive because never gone comprehensive because I was taught from my days in insurance that you never say fully comprehensive because otherwise you're covered for off-road, and you're not. But comprehensive I've never gone with on insurance for bikes because it does seem to be like nearly 3 times the price of third-party fire and theft. Thoughts on the Audi TT? I've come round. I didn't used to like the Audi TT. The Mark 1 we're talking about here, Mark 1. I never used to like the TT. I thought they were a bit boring and a bit all style, no substance. But my boss has just bought one, and he did a video on it. And when I was watching it, I realised how much I like bits of them. The interior is fantastic, and they're cheap right now, and they're fast, and they're capable. I've come around big time to the TT, actually. I hate to admit how much. Gaming Biscuit, you're painting 2 panels of a motorcycle. It has a tank cover, but I need to refresh the paint since the sticker was so stubborn that you had to sand it. Interesting. Okay. Hope it turns out well for you. I'm going to have a drink. Archie Bishop, opinion on Jaguar of today and yesteryear. Opinion on Jaguar of yesteryear. Yeah. I wasn't around in the 70s and 80s, if you couldn't tell. I'm not quite that old. So I don't know what it was like to be there at the time. What I can tell you is I like what they were doing, and I like that they were very much cool and caddish and a little bit sinister, although that's a bit of a stereotype because I don't think there's much sinister about a knackered Series 3. But yeah, I like Jaguar in the old days. Jaguar in the newer days are an odd one because they're going in a new direction. They're doing all the electric stuff like everyone is, and the I-Pace is a whole new chapter for them. I don't think their quality is there, unfortunately. I've driven an XE, a new shape XE. New shape. There's not an old shape. XE, and I was disappointed in the quality. And it almost felt like they were trying to be a 3 Series, but didn't have the right bits of a 3 Series. The quality wasn't there, the comfort certainly wasn't there, and the handling was more twitchy than dynamic, if that makes any sense. I'm not a car journalist. I am a car journalist. The problem is I think Jaguar are trying to be BMW a bit these days, and with varying degrees of success. I mean, the E-Pace is the biggest pile of blandness that I've seen from them in a while. So I hope they're still around, but they need to up their game a little bit. I think they're going in the right direction by killing off dating models. Like the XK was long in the tooth by the time that got killed off, and the XJ is supposed to become some kind of electric hybrid nutter thing. I hope it works out for Jaguar, because I don't want them to go the way of Saab, because we'll miss them. So I hope they stick around, but that's more a hope than a no, they're going to stick around. You want to buy a Jaguar 4.3 XJ and go lowrider on it? That would be cool. Do that. How is my brother getting on with the Citroen? He's still cracking on. He hasn't driven it pretty much at all, I don't think, because he was doing quite well with his driving lessons, thinking about starting to book his test, and then Corona occurred. So he's not had a chance to do it, bless him. Ryan, if you are watching this, mate, we need to get you out in that. We need to get you passing your test. And you need to do a video about learning how to do a burnout. We'll do that. Richard Bullock, I would sell my own mother on the street corners to be able to buy W123. No comment, but they are lovely. W123s, that is not your mother. She might be lovely. Don't know, never met her. James May's Cars of the People was a great series. Oh, that was. It strayed into silliness just a little bit, like that bit of shooting a Renault 4 in a quarry. Not quite sure what that was about, but yeah, Cars of the People was lovely. Really enjoyed that series. Greetings from Egypt, Mcm Cars. I think that's how you say your name. Greetings. Thank you very much for watching. I'm all about the Crossfire, but the rear end looks like a dog doing a number 2. There's a cliche. I actually don't mind the rear of the Crossfire. I think it looks all right. With the spoiler up, the rear of the Crossfire looks all right, actually. Cars of the People was very good. AutoZam AZ1 is cooler than the Crossfire. I'm not going to disagree with that. The AutoZam AZ1, I think, is cooler than the DeLorean, because the DeLorean's too much of a cliche. There's Back to the Future, back in time, 88 miles an hour, blah, blah, blah. The AZ1, it still has that what the hell is that thing factor, because genuinely people aren't into cars know what a DeLorean is, but only proper car know what an AZ1 is. So I'd actually go for one of those over a DeLorean, probably faster as well. Richard Bullock, I was mental long before lockdown. Joined the club. R34, again, I'm guessing that's not your given name, says 159. If you mean Alpha 159, yes, big fan, like them. Mark McGann's like driving a lounge. The suspension and seats are very comfy. Yes, they are. We like Renaults on this channel, even though we have not directly featured one. Best daily driver for 1,500 quid. Ooh, best daily driver for 1,500 quid. The generic part of my brain that says daily driver suggests golf, like you've put, just golf. It's an odd one. Depending how interesting do you want your £1,500 daily driver to be? Different strokes for different folks. And if it's your daily driver, does it need to take 4 people and a load of luggage in it? In which case you'll want an estate car. But if it doesn't, you could daily drive an MR2. If you're single and you don't have luggage, you can daily an MR2. So I don't think even daily driver is a subjective term, isn't it? So I can't really. But if you're not into cars and you want a daily golf every day, golf's a good. And Ante Radish, I think you say that. What did I miss? Quite a lot. But we're 54 minutes in nearly. You missed quite a lot, but I'm still here. And many of you are still here. So we're going to keep going. You'd like a young driver's video, SGD TV? Fine, we'll do that. If other people want an how to get cheap car insurance video, we can do that now, because now I don't work for a car insurance company anymore. I can say things like that. Destroying the 2CV and the Renault 4 was just Top Gear entertainment segment. Yeah, it really is a shame, because Renault 4s and 2CVs, they're getting thin on the ground these days. I fancy a Renault 4 and a 2CV. Lovely. Favourite Top Gear episode, asks Ollie James. Old Top Gear or new Top Gear? Old Top Gear. I'm going to stick my neck out. Not stick my neck out. My favourite old Top Gear episode was the one... it's going to be down to 2. It's either going to be cheap coupes that aren't Porsches, because I loved that cheap car challenge and I loved the Maserati MC12 review, or it's going to be the one with the tribute to Saab in it, because I loved that tribute to Saab piece. That was a proper, serious but entertaining piece. Really, really like that. And I liked the C63 Black versus MC Stradale bit as well. So one of those two, not the specials, although my favourite special is the River Nile one. New Top Gear. I'm going to go with was it Nepal, where they had the Renault 4 and the 106 Rally and the Hulas Mustang bus thing. That was really cool. I like that one. You like the BMW 3 Series, do I? Asked Richard Bullock. I quite like the 3 Series. Never driven one. It's weird. I've driven some weird and wacky stuff, but never driven a 3 Series. Yeah, they're perfectly capable. People seem to like them. I'm sure they're good. Thoughts on the Renault Clio, specifically the 2003 model year, asks Mcm Draz. Again, is there anything specific about the 2003 model year for the Clio? Anyone? Yeah, I like the Clio. That'd be a Mark II Clio, wouldn't it? Or Mark II facelift. Yeah, really like them. Big fan. Which 70s supercar would I own? 70s supercars. I'm now trying to think. Maserati Bora. Interesting answer, I know, but the Bora just looks fantastic, and it's a bit different to the Countach and Testarossa establishment. Yeah, I like the Bora, big time. Ralph Ups or UPS. You can drive my dream car, a Rolls-Royce Silver Shadow. Oh, I'd love to drive a Shadow. Yeah, I've liked those since I was a kid. Big fan of the Silver Shadow. I'm not sure, I wouldn't buy one. Financial ruination if ever I've heard of it, apart from maybe a 90s S-Class. A fellow in Ontario who bought a beat-up 1970 Mach 1 Mustang that he's putting a Jaguar V12 in. Holy crap! That is incredible. I want to see and hear everything about that. What have we got? Where do I see car design and technology going in the next 50 years? I think there's going to be less and less opportunity for innovation as everyone steers more towards eco-friendly self-driving electric boxes. And I think the problem is I was rewatching Clarkson's Tesla Model X review the other day, and he said in that it changes the way we think about car ownership. And I think he's right. I think we're going to enter this era of the car being more an appliance, like a dishwasher or a microwave, that you buy it, a white box that drives itself, you get in it, it drives you to work while you're having your breakfast and whatever in it, you get out of it, it goes and parks itself, and then when you come out of work, you summon it and it picks you up. And I don't want to be really pessimistic, but I think cars are going to lose a lot of character, a lot of soul, and a lot of difference. And I think Tesla are the start of it, unfortunately. I quite like Teslas, but I think they're playing the long game because they make batteries now, don't they? So they're getting everyone into electric cars, making everyone else make better electric cars, but then they're just going to sell everyone else their batteries, aren't they? Probably. So unfortunately, probably less innovative and less interesting. But that doesn't mean that old cars aren't still awesome, because of course they are. What else have we got? The AutoZam is cooler than the Cappuccino. Yeah, but the AutoZam's cooler than pretty much everything ever, I think even Steve McQueen isn't as cool as an AutoZam. I was thinking about selling my Citroen so I can buy a 106, but the first gen and 1.6 16 valve, swap it and make it a sleeper. Interesting combination. I'm always going to fly the Citroen flag, so keep your Citroen and put a cool engine in that. Swede Speed. Cool name. Are you interested in Volvos? I am interested in Volvos. Have I driven a Volvo? I don't think I've ever driven a Volvo, actually. No, I've driven an Amazon. I've driven a Volvo Amazon. That was lovely. Really nice thing. Yeah, it depends. New Volvos are very sleek and very cool and very laid back compared to the Germans, which is always a good thing. And old Volvos, 240s, 940s, are just cool. They're just functional and brilliant and plain. They're boxy, but they're cool. So the expression goes from Chod Spot on Twitter. And really old stuff like the P1800 and the Amazon was just class. Yeah, I like all Volvos. I should have a Volvo. I'll get a Volvo. Volvo C30 or VW Scirocco. Ooh. C30, T5. Thoughts on the Renault Twizy? Got a bit of C30. What are the major plans with the GTV? Well, there is a video coming next week, which should be the final repairs on the Alpha. I think it might be quite a long one. I don't know yet. I haven't finished filming it, let alone editing it, actually. But yeah, it's going to be the last repairs on the Alpha. And then there is something big planned for it, something that I've never done before, something that it's big. It's going to be interesting, and it's for without wishing to be too mystical, it's for the greater good of more than just me and my channel and my car. So big plans for the Alpha. Wait and see. What is your go-to first mod for a car after having done a full service? Asks Lunatic the Nick. Fantastic name. Love that. Greetings from Holland. Hello. Greetings. I don't know what hello in Dutch is, but hello. First go-to mod. Well, I've only modified one car, which is the Citroen. Depends what you want, really. I mean, you can't go wrong with an exhaust. Let's be honest. Most cars, even something relatively obscure, you can get an aftermarket exhaust for. And if you can't, you can get a custom one made up. And I think if you're into cars, you should have at least one car that sounds cool. So we'll go with exhaust. But if you're going for handling and driving fun, coilovers. You can get coilovers for pretty much anything, and they are transformative to the way the car looks, handles, rides, and feels. Even if you only get cheap coilovers, you'll notice the difference. You will. So if you want to drive it, coilovers. If it's just a daily, exhaust. What else have we got? The questions are scrolling away. I do apologise if you asked the questions half an hour ago. Oh, hello. Rob S. Best 90s hot hatch. I'm not going to count the Citroen because it's not really hot. Delta Integrale Evoluzione 2 if we're going mental. If we're just talking proper, actual hot hatches as opposed to borderline sports cars. 106 Rally. Big fan. We've got the likes of the Honda E and the new Fiat 500e. Yeah, that's true. They're making electric cars a bit more. I wouldn't say electric cars are dull, but my worry is we're gradually gravitating towards this just white self-driving electric box future that Tesla seem to be accelerating, unfortunately. Totally agree with what you said about the Crossfire and the 300C. Yeah, exactly. There's nothing wrong with those cars on paper, at least. I've never driven either of them, but objectively what they are is a Mercedes mechanically with a really good looking body on it in both cases. So I can't see how that can be anything other than a bad thing, apart from the quality, but we'll gloss over that. Ed China or Ant Anstead, what to have dinner with or to drive or to have work on my car? I've never met either of them. I've met Mike Brewer. I haven't met either of those two. To watch on telly? I don't know. You're going to have to be a little bit more specific with what I'm choosing them over. What's the weirdest car you want to drive that I haven't yet driven? I've got a few really weird ones I'd like to try. I'd like to drive everything. That's, it's always the way. I'd like to drive Twizy would be a good one. Bond Bug. What else? What else is Morgan three-wheeler? I'd like to drive some K cars, and there's a lot of weird K cars out there. Yeah, anything small and nuggety is on my list, basically. Peugeot 406 or Vauxhall Amiga. Vauxhall Amiga, I'm going to go with. I've got a soft spot for the Amiga. I'm not really a Vauxhall man, but it's just nice, the Amiga. I can't put my finger on it, but it's just nice. I just like it. Nothing wrong with the 406, though. Thoughts on the Hyundai Matrix? Remind me what the Hyundai Matrix was again? Was that the people carrier thing that Pininfarina designed? In which case, it's revolting. Do I think the Mark 6 Escort will be a classic one day, even though they were critically panned, I should say, as a terrible car? I don't know. I mean, I've cynically said before that all Fords eventually become classics and are worth thousands of pounds. I think it will take, let's ignore the Cosworth and let's ignore the RS 2000 because I think they will whatever. I don't think the cookie models are ever going to be worth 20, 30, 40 grand like Mark 1s and Mark 2s are. I don't know how bad they are, to be honest. I've never driven a Mark 6 Escort. I've only ever driven a Mark 3 Escort. I've driven a couple of Mark 3s, never a Mark 6. I'm told they are dismal, but I can't comment. I don't know, is the honest answer. I don't think they're ever going to be a proper, oh my God, why didn't we preserve more of those classic? I think they're only at most going to be a bit niche because even Ford people don't really acknowledge the Mark 6 Escort unless it's Cosworth, which is more a Sierra anyway. Big congratulations from Speed Culture Studios, still watching from South Carolina. Hello, thank you very much for watching, my friend, and thank you for the congratulations. Yes, 6,000 subscribers. That's big. Thank you all for that. Rob S asks, what would you be doing if you weren't doing your current job? If I wasn't doing my current job, which is, for those of you that didn't know, car journalist stroke videographer, I'd probably still be in my old job, which was I was in car insurance. I worked in a call center, and I was the bloke who said, "Hello, welcome to insert insurance company name," which I'm not going to say. How can I help you? Do you need to make a claim? Do you need to do this, that, and the other? That was my job before this, and I probably would have left it by now, to be honest, because it was starting to bore me a bit. And the only way from there, you can progress your way up the ladder and earn more money and that kind of stuff, but I probably would have fancied a change. So I don't know what I'd have been doing, because I couldn't have done YouTube full time as a job, because contrary to popular belief that every YouTuber is a millionaire, I'm not. I don't make a living off of this, off of Miller Corner, so it wouldn't have been that. Hard to say, really. I probably wouldn't have still been in insurance, but I don't know what I would have been doing. Who knows? But I'm living my dream job now, and long may it continue. Touch all of the wood. Piaggio Ape, asks Cody Dagley. Yes. Piaggio Apes are wicked. They just come on. You can't not love them. Thoughts on the Mark 7 Celica? Ooh, Mark 7 Celica. There's a car that we're going to wonder, why didn't we preserve those more? I really, really like Mark 7 Celicas. When I was a kid in primary school, one of my mates' mums had one. And I used to think that one of my mates' mums had a Mini Cooper S, a U-shaped Cooper S, the supercharged one, because I was about 5 or 6 at the time. And I thought that was the coolest car that any of my mates' mums owned. And then another one of my mates' mums got a Mark 7 Celica T-Sport with the wing. And I just thought it was the coolest thing. And it looked the business. And then I found out you could get it on Need for Speed Underground or Underground 2. And that only made it cooler in my eyes. I really, really like Mark 7 Celicas. How would you feel if I were to buy one and do some videos on it? Because I fancy a Mark 7 Celica. I really fancy one. And they're still cheap, which they may not be for much longer. Who knows? Cody Dagley says, I think that classic is relative. If you like a car that's older, then it's a classic to you. Exactly. And those of you that watch Classics World will know we did a video on what is the true definition of a classic, and we didn't really come to a true conclusion. It boils down to what's a classic for you. There are people that will say that an 80s XR3i, for example, or a Golf is a classic, but then the people that are into the 60s stuff, the Morris Minors and the MGBs, will say that's not a classic, that's modern. Because if you're used to 60s stuff, then an XR3i is modern. But there are people that are into XR3is and Golf GTIs and Peugeot 205s, the 80s stuff, that will look at the stuff that is starting to become classic now, like Mark II MX5s and Mark II MR2s. And they go, that's not a classic, it's modern and it looks still new and everything else. So it depends what you're used to. And I think classic is a subjective term that moves around. Unfortunately, we're never going to agree on it, but that's the wonderful world of cars. We don't have to agree. Mark 6 Escort was truly horrific, says Richard Bullock. Horrific in every possible way. You've sat on more comfortable park benches. Jesus. Rob S. Favourite YouTubers? Favourite car YouTubers? Mighty Car Mods. Big time. They're my favourites. Followed by. Also on the list includes Hubnut. I do watch Hubnut. I watch Ian. Who else? I tend to gravitate back to Mighty Car Mods a lot. I also watch 44 Teeth. If you're into your bikes, go and look at 44 Teeth, particularly the budget bike battles that they do, because those guys, Al and Chris, they're just brilliant. They're brilliant videos. They make you smile. If you're into bikes, go and watch 44 Teeth. And even if you're not, go and watch a budget bike battle and you'll be surprised how much you enjoy it, even if you're not into bikes. And hopefully it'll inspire you to get one, because we need more bikers out there. What's the one car you would never drive, not even for £1 million? Asks Munro's N Corbett. I think I'm pronouncing that. Apologies, you've written it slightly odd. There's no car that I would never drive, I don't think. I want to drive everything. If you're truly curious about cars, you want to drive everything. But there is probably one exception, is a Bmw X4. I would never want to drive. I know it's probably technically competent and everything else, but my God, it saps my will to live. Do I play any video games? Asks Rob S. If so, which? Not really. I'm too busy fixing my Alpha and making YouTube videos. When I do find time for games, it's usually Forza. I've only very recently got an Xbox One, courtesy of my girlfriend, actually. Until I've actually still been on 360 for years and years and years, because I don't really game that much. It's always Forza racing games, Motorsport and Horizon, Occasionally a bit of Need for Speed, but not really. Yeah, just Forza, really. But even then, I don't play online or anything like that particularly, because I'd rather spend the money for Xbox Live on car parts and do. If I do, having said that, I say my girlfriend has just given me an Xbox One, and I've got Forza on there. She's already loaded Forza onto it for me. So Steph ABTV has been doing those online Forza car meets, hasn't he? Would we be interested? Forza Horizon 4 online Miller Corner car meet? Simone says, can't stand the Binny. I like them. I've driven one. I like the BMW Minis. I think they're cool. Ruby Cupid, I presume when you say buy one right now, do you mean the Celica? If you do, then okay. Cody says, you'd meet up and drive the 7th gen Celica Matt from Laurie's Mechanical Marvels has. Yeah, that'd be quite cool, actually. There were plans afoot, actually, for the second Santa Pod budget drag racing challenge thing. Classics World were actually invited to take part, and we were looking at taking part, including Laurie's Mechanical Marvels. They would have been there as well. And I think, yeah, Ian from Hubnut was going to be there too. And then obviously Corona occurred, and now I don't think it's happening. So, which is a shame, unfortunately. But yeah, Matt, if you're watching and you want to let me drive your Celica, yes, please. The Scorpiator or Scorpionator? I'm going to go with Scorpiator. It looks like you've got an Abarth in your icon. I presume you mean like the Abarth Scorpion. Opinions on the Wolseley 1660. Never driven a Wolseley of any sort, actually. Should get around to that, but no, never driven one. Can't comment, I'm afraid. Apologies. Simone J. Stogren, you're a biker. Good man. Good man. I say good man. Well, just good on you. If you're a biker, then you're okay with me. Cicento needs a T-Jet. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. However, having spoken to someone who's recently done it, he said it was outrageously expensive if you pay someone else to do it. And if you do it yourself, it's months and months and months of work, particularly when I don't have permanent access to a workshop and I don't have all the tools in the world and my driveway is on a slope, so I can't put the car up on jack stands. Yeah, yes, but probably not. No. Have you watched Harry's Garage? Yes, I have watched Harry. I do watch Harry occasionally, not that much, if I'm honest, because I don't watch many different things on YouTube. I'm too busy making YouTube stuff. But yeah, Harry does some cool stuff, and he's got the most phenomenal collection of stuff, including a Clio Trophy. I think that might be my favorite car that he owns. Throttle Out from Motor Trend. Motor Trend, I tend to ignore the existence of ever since they hid behind a paywall. That's what I'm going to say. X6 is even worse. Here's my 2 pence on the BMW X6. It's technically appalling and horrible and revolting and hideous, and I think we could all agree we hate it. But it did something different. It tried, you know? I mean, in an age when all the big SUVs were coming along, like the Cayenne and the Touareg and the Range Rover and the X5, the X6 tried to do something different, to give like a high-riding coupe saloon SUV thing. And it was terrible, but it was original. So you've got to give it a point for originality. The X4 is the same at 75%. So no originality from me. They should give Porsche their photocopier back. Soup Classic Motoring. I do watch a bit of his stuff. His editing is incredible. Yeah, really, really good. Hubnut I do watch. And Furious Driving, Matt. Yeah, I watch his stuff as well. Matt, if you're watching, kudos on the Volvo, my friend. That thing's awesome. But I think my favourite car of Matt's is that Rover Tomcat, because I like an R8. Wolves Wheels. I miss Baron von Grumble doing grumblings on the way to London before I move on to 44 Teeth. Yeah, Chris doesn't do that much on his own these days, does he? But 44 Teeth is just really, really good. Go and watch 44 Teeth. Thoughts on the Ford Mondeo Vignale? What was wrong with calling it the Gia? That's my only thoughts. Jack DR, I'll be up for a Miller Corner Forza meet. I think we should make that happen then. Make a Patreon. I think large amounts of accounts benefit as provides more freedom for content. I have considered a Patreon, and people have talked about it, and I've considered it. The problem is I'm too busy, I think, to keep up with regular support on a Patreon. And my girlfriend suggested, why not do you just live streams for Patreon? The trouble is I like doing live streams, and I don't think anyone should miss out. That's why I do it on YouTube, because if you're here now, you're obviously watching it, but you can watch it after the fact. It will stay on YouTube forever. I'm never going to delete it unless something terrible happens. So I don't like doing it on Instagram because, of course, not everyone's got Instagram and it doesn't stick around forever. And the same with Facebook. Again, not everyone's got Facebook and it doesn't stick around forever. YouTube, it does, and you don't have to have an account. You can just click on YouTube from wherever you are. So I couldn't really do live stream stuff. Patreon, put it this way, I don't rely on this for an income. So I think Patreon would be, I don't really feel comfortable taking money off people for this. I mean, if as and when we do Miller Corner merch, that's another thing. We can do a shop for that and sell that. That's fine. But I don't really feel comfortable people paying me for YouTube. YouTube already do that. And this isn't my job. I do this for the fun of it because I love it. I wouldn't care if I didn't earn a penny out of it. So, and I'm paid to make YouTube videos by YouTube and I do it as my job. So probably not on the Patreon front, but thank you for considering it. Forza Horizon 4 meet. Yes, we'll do that then. Imagine the Citroen with the K20 in it. Yeah. Yes, please. The Nerfed Gamer, get a haircut. Incoming. Thomas, greetings from Poland. Thomas, the guy with the gut. Right. Those of you watching who have watched the video with the Cosmo, the homemade Citroen supercar, sports car, kit car thing. Thomas, you can see in the comment section now, that is him. He built it. He's in the comments. Thomas, hello. Thank you for watching, my friend. Thank you for joining. The Santa Pod event would be cool if it happened, Cody, but because of the way Classics World is operating at the moment, we probably wouldn't be able to take part, unfortunately. The Mocha is far more emotionally draining than an X4. They all sat my will to live. The Renault Capture is that's a cure for sleep insomnia, that thing. My favorite MCM cars are the Mira and Supergrams. What are yours? Oh, I do like the Mira and I like Supergrams. The Mira's got to be up there because I resonate with that story with the Citroen, small nugget that everyone else would say just throw in the bin. But Marty and I have both saved our small nuggets. So the Mira I love. Too Sexy. I really like Too Sexy. I know that's a bit of a crowd favorite, but I really, really like it. And the MR2. I do like the MR2 because, frankly, after all that work, Marty deserved to win that challenge and did. Spoiler alert. But yeah, Too Sexy and the Mira. They're my two favorite Mighty Car Mods cars, although Moog's Mini is pretty cool. Andy's Motorcycle Obsessions. I have never heard of him. I'm going to have to look him up. Are you sure you want to delete? You're off, but congratulations on 6,000 followers. Thank you very much. Thank you very much indeed. Much appreciated. 2 words, hair gel. 2 words in response, haircut. Incoming. Yes, thank you very much. Thanks for joining. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you might not want to stick around forever. And I'm well aware this has been going for an hour and a quarter already. But thank you for sticking around for this long. Glenn Broadhead. Hi. Hello. Other than cars and bikes, do you have any other hobbies? It says Rob S. Video making. I know it's technically under the same umbrella because it's about cars, but I love filming stuff. I love presenting. I love editing. I love video editing. It's something I can spend hours doing. I really enjoy video editing. That's why you'll probably notice over the years that my editing quality has gone up because as I've sort of improved at it through doing it for this and doing it for a job, I've enjoyed it even more. On video editing, I just love doing it. It's really good fun. So if you can count video making under that hobby stroke job stroke part of the car YouTube thing, video making, just really enjoy it. Saxo 106, we've done this one before. If it's the hot ones, to own 106, to sell Saxo. If it's the standard versions, 106. TRD Laser, yes. Oh, TRD Laser is indeed where it's at. Big fan. It will amaze you. I like the blue turd. Oh, blue turd, RIP. Blue Cinquecento 23. What do I think about your Cinquecento? I can see that is it Imola Blue? I want to say Imola Blue. If it is, yes, Imola Blue Cinquecento. I was about to say keep it standard because there's not many left. But if you want to modify it, go nuts. The Nerfed Gamer, what's your thoughts on a Yamaha XJ600S diversion, if you have any? Indifferent, really. The trouble is, I'm not as versed in bike knowledge as I am in car knowledge, as if I'm some great encyclopedia of car knowledge. So my bike knowledge is fairly limited, to be honest. I can't really comment. First gen Volvo S40 or V40, asks Archie Bishop. Yeah. I think that I've got in my head, correct me if I'm wrong, I've got in my head that the Volvo V40 formed the underpinnings for the Mitsubishi Space Star. Am I correct? Am I going mental, or was the V40 also the underpinnings of the Space Star? Someone confirm or deny that for me. Pontiac Aztec. I actually like the Aztec. I even like the way it looks. Sorry. A Saxo is a death trap. As we've said before, most 90 small cars are death traps. I have watched the Citroen crash test, and frankly, yeah, and stuff like the Rover 100. And most 90 small cars are. If I wanted a safe car, I'd go and buy a brand new Clio or something like that. I say buy, finance, like everyone does. But the way I look at it is, if I'm going to die in a car crash, I'd rather die in something fun than something bland but a bit safer. But the fact of the matter is, whenever anyone comments on how unsafe small cars are, I point out that I was hit by a truck in my Citroen at about 40 miles an hour, and I came off fine, absolutely uninjured physically. So, yeah. Do I like sleepers? I do like the idea of sleepers. I was going to say part of me wishes I'd made the Citroen a sleeper, but I don't really, because I love the way it looks. I like the idea of having something like an old Volvo with like a 2JZ or something mental in it. But on the other hand, it depends. I was going to say, if you're going to put all that effort into making it perform, you want to make it look good as well. But there is an appeal in sleepers now. But the trouble is, a lot of the sleepery stuff is actually becoming commonplace. So I was talking to Mcm Cars about this. He said he was at a top speed drag run event with his Lotus Evora when he had that. And there was supercars there. There was 911s and Ferraris and all that kind of stuff. And a guy turned up in what looked like a knackered old Merc 300 diesel, and no one would race him, because you don't turn up to a supercar event in a knackered old Merc diesel unless there's a bit more to it than just being a knackered old Merc diesel. So, yeah, the trouble is with the sleeper stuff, people are starting to expect it now. But if you could do something a bit, well, there you go. You said there, a mate dropped a Z-Tech engine into a Mark 1 Ford Ka. Outwardly, all he did was put bigger brakes and wheels on it. Yeah, I can get on board with that. I remember the first year around in Poland, there was that Cinquecento that was completely Bogo stock, but they'd squeezed Punto GT turbo calipers under the steel wheels, and under the bonnet was a 16 valve. So I can get on board with that kind of thing. I think that's because people don't suspect a Cinquecento sleeper. Ford Ka Mark 1 or a Saxo? Saxo. Well, I do like the Mark 1 Ka. It's a sport car. Do I watch Pete C with his Cortina? I don't really. I'm not a massive Ford man, unfortunately. I'm not really. I don't know, that's controversial. I'm not really into my Fords, but he's doing a cracking job, and I like Mark III Cortinas. So there you go. I'm going to have a drink and wait for some more questions, because unbelievably I've caught up. Never thought that was going to happen. The Santa Pod Drag Racing Challenge isn't going to be going ahead by the unfortunate sound of things. You may remember, long-term viewers of the channel will remember, that I had that R8 Rover 216 as my work car, and Joseph Lloyd of Lloyd's Vehicle Consulting bought that Rover from Kelsey that I work for, and he was going to be using it in that challenge, but he's now sold it because the challenge isn't going ahead, unfortunately. And no, I haven't bought it. MX-5 or Barchetta? Oh, I don't know. I've never driven a Barchetta, so I can't come. I know Mark II MX-5. I really like. Mark 1, not really. Controversial. Mark II MX-5, I love. I looked at buying one again, but I think the trouble is, whatever car I buy, I want to get my money's worth as far as YouTube is concerned out of it. And everyone and their mum is doing MX-5 stuff, and I couldn't bring anything new to the table. It would just be, the coilovers and the wheels and the exhaust and some seats and maybe a body kit and turbo eventually. All big original content there. So MX-5 has never really appealed to me, because ultimately not YouTubeable, really, as amazing as it seems. But the Barchetta, never driven one, but I love them. I'm a Fiat fan, of course I like them. Modian, can't read that. Hi, how are you? I'm very well, thank you. How are you? Do I watch detailing videos because you find them relaxing and stress relieving? I don't watch detailing videos, no, because all it does is highlight how crap I am at car detailing. Barchetta is front wheel drive. To a purist, is very, very wrong. If you're so much of a purist that front wheel drive is wrong, then I don't want to be right, quite frankly, because the most fun cars I've ever driven are all front wheel drive, bar the Mark II MX-5, and every other top 5 funnest cars I've ever driven have been front wheel drive. And again, if that's wrong, I don't want to be right. The Scorpiator again. Do I have a plan on doing a proper track day in the Citroen? Probably not. For 2 reasons. Reason 1, I'm not very good at driving quickly. So I'd bin the car or get in someone's way and cause a crash, which I don't want to do. And thing 2, I love that car too much to risk it. Track days wreck cars, they wreck tires, they wreck brakes, and if you go off, you can break bodywork, and you can damage the engine if you over rev it or hit the limiter too much. Track days ruin cars, and if I was going to do track stuff, I'd buy another track car. I wouldn't use the Citroen. That's my baby. I'm never going to kill that car. Will I ever buy a Honda S2000? I'd love to. I'd love to have an S2000. One day I will. One day I'll have an S2000. By then, the prices would have gone cataclysmic, and I'll regret not buying one now. Ammo NYC has a really cool channel on detailing barn finds that haven't been touched in 30 years. Oh, satisfying. Yeah, I'm going to have to watch one of those. What's my take on the modern car scene in comparison with the Max Power era? It's going to be a controversial opinion, but frankly, if you watch this channel, you're used to that. I'm not a huge fan of a lot of it. The problem is the Max Power era, call it what you want, but it was different and interesting, and everyone had something totally unique, and they poured £30,000 into a Saxo to put TV screens on the roof and to have these enormous body kits and these ridiculous wheels that would never fit on a Saxo, but they've got 4 feet of fiberglass bodywork on each side just to make it fit, and massive exhaust and Lexus lights on everything, always Lexus lights. And it was crazy, but everyone had something different. These days, and I hate to have to say it, you go to a car meet and predominantly you get Golf Rs, Audi S3s, and Ford Fiesta STs on air ride, on bowlers or occasionally rotors with pop and bang maps on them. I'm well aware there is another side to the UK car scene, but that is what I've seen of it, and that's the vast majority as far as I can tell, and that's so uninspiring to me, unfortunately. The only thing I will say is the Italian car scene that I've had, because I feel that's the one I've had the most to do with, because that's what I'm involved with, is different. The Italian car scene are some of the nicest people I've ever met, and the Abarth guys are lovely, and the Seicento guys are lovely, and even the Punto guys are lovely. I say even because I wasn't that involved. It's just not as good as it used to be. I'm sounding like a nostalgic old fart, and I'm only 21. What am I going to be like in my 40s? Wool's Wheels. I took my Mini to Castle Combe. Did the parade lap. Yeah, see, parade laps are cool. Like we did at Festival Italia, but again, you're not smashing your car to pieces. All I would say, what commends track days to me, that episode of Mighty Car Mods where Too Sexy did like 4 laps and blew up. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say. Your dad has a Saxo VTS and a Xantia. Love the Saxo. Yeah, the Saxo VTS is wicked. The Xantia is loved. Xantia is one of my favourite cars. I love the Xantia. Fantastic car. I had a Max Power sticker in my Mark I Fiesta back in the 90s. Isn't it so uncool? That's fantastically cool. My dad actually found in his toolbox the other day a Fast Car sticker, as in Fast Car magazine, from like the late 90s, early 2000s, and I'm going to be putting that on the Seicento. Yeah, I've got to. I'm sorry, it's just I'm odd like that. I can't say I've ever loved Altezza brackets Lexus lights. They work on some cars, not on others. Seicentos with them actually don't look bad, dare I say it. But they're period correct for Saxos anyway. 100% spot on with that definition of the UK car scene. Yeah, I don't like to be negative about the UK car scene because I'm well aware there's more to it than that. But by and large, it's financed DSG hatchbacks on air ride with stupid wheels on them, pop and bang remaps, and supercars with savage wraps. And yeah, it's done the appeal to me, I'm afraid. But the classic scene is where it's at, and the Italian car scene. I'm not biased or anything. What happened to Xantias? They used to be. They did. You used to see Xantias quite a lot. The most I've ever seen is my mate Sam, because he had 3 at one point, and I borrowed his 1.9D for a while, and that was I love Xantias. They're brilliant. Could I own one of those one day? I had an Audi Coupe 5-cylinder. Yeah, 5 cylinders. Big thumbs up. Fiesta or Corsa? Well, which generation? If we're talking brand new, I don't have enough knowledge or opinion or caring to pick a favourite of the brand new ones. I don't know. It's nothing I'm involved with, really. Brand new stuff. If I was at gunpoint and they said you got to pick Fiesta or Corsa, Fiesta. Citroen ZX. Yeah, Citroen ZX is cool. I like the ZX. I've seen a picture on Twitter of someone who did a ZX with like multiple coloured stripes going at diagonal angle on the tailgate, and they put the lettering off of a ZX Spectrum on it, so it was ZX Spectrum. That's someone with a sense of humour. That was brilliant. I drive an Almera. What happened to all the Almeras? Where did they go? Where did my voice go? But where did all the Nissan Almeras go? I think they're going to be like Lagunas and Vectras, that they're all going to disappear, and all of a sudden they're going to be worth money because, again, all that's going to be left will be the good ones. Corsa 1999 or Fiesta 1999? Fiesta. Do I have an opinion on the Citroen AX? Yes, I do. Little nugget, big fan, but they rot. Really, really big. Citroen in rust shocker. But yeah, big fan. I like AXs, and they're still cheap, and they're a bit different. AX GTs, yeah, my mum and dad said that was one of the most fun cars, because bizarrely, they had an AX GT as a holiday hire car back in the early 90s, and that is wicked, frankly. That's incredible. Thoughts on the Alpine brand possibly being discontinued? I can't add anything original to this, but the problem is they were entering into an already crowded market with the Boxster, Stroke Cayman, and F-Type, and TTRS, and the 4C, and everything like that. So they were entering into a crowded, and Lotus, and they were entering into a crowded market anyway. Essentially, it's a Renault. It's got the engine from a Megane. I haven't driven one, but I've been in one, and the interior quality is not there. A lot of it is quite plasticky. A lot of it feels Renault quality, which for 20 grand, for 50 grand, when a Porsche Cayman is impeccably just perfected in terms of its quality, it's not really good enough. Apparently, they drive wonderfully. Haven't driven one, can't comment, but I don't think it was ever going to work, because the people who remember the Alpine brand don't like modern stuff predominantly, and the people who can afford to buy a brand new £50,000 sports car, they'll go for a Cayman or an F-Type or a Lotus or an Audi TT. So I think it was probably doomed to failure from day one, unfortunately. It's a shame, because I like them and I like the idea of them existing, but unfortunately I think secretly it was probably always going to happen. Good evening, Slow Aveo. Chevrolet Aveos, remember those? Thoughts on Holden getting killed off? I don't know enough about Australian motoring to know why that happened. Was it just that sales were low, or was it that GM just kill everything off? Hello, Saab. Hard to say, really. I wish the Aussies still made cars, because if there are more cars being made in the world, then that's always better. There's no such thing as too many cars. And it's a big shame, because I imagine a lot of people will have been out of a job as a result. And that's, at the end of the day, at the moment, on a more human level, it's sad that people are out of jobs. And frankly, Holden made some interesting stuff. The Maloo, I'd love a Holden Maloo. But yeah, it's a bit of a shame, unfortunately. But with any luck, those people were either picked up by another company or they've got new jobs. That's the main thing. It's the human. Everyone goes, oh, it's sad that Saab don't exist anymore. I always liked Saabs and everything else. But people forget, actually, it's not just the company, but it's individuals. And there's people's husbands and wives and partners and granddads that all lost jobs potentially. And that's the human element that we don't think about when a company, equally with Alpine. I'm sure there are people who work at Alpine that are going to lose their job if the brand goes under, obviously. And that's sad. That is really sad, particularly at the moment. Fiesta or Ibiza from 2013? Ibiza, because it's a bit different. I love my Aveo. It corners like a bus, but it's reliable. It's got enough poke. Yeah, I don't dislike the Aveo. It's a bit different. Saab were too expensive for the market. Yeah. The problem is with Saab, I think Saab are a lot what Alfa Romeo might be one day. If Alfa get killed off and Alfa ends, I hope they don't, but if they do, everyone's going to go, oh, that's really sad that they went. Did you buy one? No. And that's the thing with Saab. Everyone was sad when they went, but no one bought one when they were still here, which it's a shame, really. But I will have a Saab one day, definitely. Makes you think of Rover. Yeah, of course. It's been 20 years nearly since the Phoenix consortium took over Rover. And it's 15 years this year since Rover went under, which is a shame. It really is, because I like Rovers. And again, people are out of a job. But I've got close contacts with people who used to work at Rover, people who were head of engineering and head of design, and people who worked in marketing and things like that. And all of them say it was like a big family, and they all really missed those times. And it is a shame. But I don't think, even if they hadn't died when they had, I don't think they really have a place in the modern market, because what they make wouldn't work, and they couldn't do anything modern and futuristic and electric and hybrid, which is what sells, because the typical Rover market wouldn't want anything new and high tech. But it's a shame, really. But unfortunately, I say unfortunately, MG still exists because look at what they're putting out these days. Alpha have got much better. The Stelvio is a beautiful thing. I'm going to be experiencing, not driving, but experiencing a Giulia QV in the very near future, literally next Thursday. So I'll report back on what that was like. The FSO Polonaise had a version with the Rover K16. Yes, it did. Yes, it did. They did a Polonaise with a Rover engine in it. I forgot about that. I think it was the Polonaise Caro. I think it was a K series. I think. Don't quote me on that. Despite working in cars, I'm not the most knowledgeable car historian ever. But yeah, that's right. They did a Polonaise with a Rover engine. That was cool. Yes, Cody, you're right. Yes, so the K series engine. I know a little bit about a lot of things. They had long bolts that went all the way through and basically joined the engine from the top right the way to the bottom. And over time, because they used plastic channels to hold the bolts in, over time, when the engine got hot, they would melt, which would cause the whole engine stack, as it were, to sort of move, and the head gasket ends up out of place, which is how you end up with head gasket failure. And that's something simple. If they just used metal dowels on that didn't melt, the future of MG Rover might have been different. Who knows? Ibiza or Fabia? Why does people keep asking me about Seat Ibizas? What is it with Seat Ibizas? Fabia. FSO did a Polonaise with an XUD. Yeah, love XUDs. We've got one in the 200,000 mile 205. Yeah, they did do Fiat engines, I think, in the Polonaise. I think. Makes sense. FSO, Polski Fiat, etc. Which do I prefer? The standard Seicento Sporting or the Abarth with the side skirt spoiler and 14s? I don't like the side skirts. I think I've said this before. I don't like the Abarth Seicento side skirts, but I do like everything else because I've put the spoiler and the wheels on my own car at one point. So Abarth. But again, the amount that they cost extra, is it worth it? Probably not. But I prefer them, just generally. The K series was a good engine. It had slight head gasket related issues. The miles racked up, exactly. But again, that's the thing with the MGF, unfortunately, and that was the nail in the coffin for that, as well as rusting, which old British sports car in rust, shocker. FSO did use Fiat engines. Yeah, FSO made Fiats. You know, they made the 125P, which I saw in Poland when I was there. But yeah, that's about it. Octavia or Golf Octavia, because more interesting, and Skoda. Are you a Ruby Cupid MB? Are you just going to keep asking me either ors? And how many of them are going to have Ibizas in them? But yeah, I'll tell you what we'll do, people. This has gone for a really long time. I've just noticed we've been going for an hour and 37. So I'm going to have a drink of water. I'll give you a couple more seconds to get any more questions you want in, and I think we can probably wind it up because I can smell dinner downstairs and I'm hungry. So. Yes, right. Any more questions you've got? Again, the floor is open anyway, but if you've got any more questions, drop them in the chat. Because what's for dinner? Pasta bake with pork belly slices. So, yes, I'm very keen. And it smells fantastic. Can you smell that? Yeah, it smells good. M4 or RS5? If it's M3. What's for dinner already? My mum has a Rover 25 with a 1.1 litre engine. It's rusting. Yeah, unfortunately, even the newer Rovers are suffering with rust now, and the numbers are going to drop, which is a shame. But places like Rimmer Brothers are a saviour for anyone with an MG Rover product because they make pretty much everything from tiny little switches and bits like that, right the way up to whole side panels of cars. If you've got an MG or a Rover, check out Rimmer Brothers. That's not a paid promotion. They are just brilliant. Preferred colour for cars aside from yellow. Orange. M3 is supposed to be a riot to drive, albeit with a snappy DCT. I'd have a manual F80 M3, and I'd have it in that really bright, vivid green they did. There you go. That's a modern car I would own. MG3 or MG6? I'm going to go MG6, actually, because it's based on a Rover 75, and you can get it with a Turbo K series, and that's the closest new MG has come to old MG Rovers. So there you go, MG6 with a Turbo K series and a better head gasket. Renault Aventime or Vauxhall Zafira? Aventime, because they're wild. Everyone loves Aventimes. I'm sorry, you just have to. It's the law. It's one of those. It's like the Mini. You can't not love the Mini, even if you don't love. I don't love Minis, but I can still appreciate it. I still smile when I see one. Same with the Aventime. You have to love the Aventime. Furry dice or him and her names on the windscreen. I've already got fluffy dice in my car. They were the first mod I ever did to my car way back when I first got it, and they're still there, and they always will be. I don't have his and hers stickers because my girlfriend is as much of a keen driver as I am. So what I did buy her at one stage was a little name tag sticker, like a driver. You know, when they have a driver's initial and surname on the side of a racing car, I bought her one of those for her Abarth. And yeah, she's got one of those. We don't do his and hers because we're both keen drivers. We both drive our own cars. Fiat Barchetta in orange would be wicked. Wheels, when will the Forza meet be? I don't know yet. I haven't got the Xbox One set up yet because you might be able to tell I'm not in my room as we film this. I'm in my brother's room because my room's being decorated. I don't have a desk at the moment, which is why I'm filming this on my brother's computer desk, not my own. When it's all set up and I've got the Xbox One, I will announce it all around the Forza meet. We'll make it happen. Might even get my girlfriend to come along as well. We'll have her along. We'll have a Forza meet. Why not? I'm keen for that. Loving the Citroen build, says Mark Stokes Swift. What do I think to the Suzuki Ignis Sport? Nugget. Love it. Furry dice, that was a 70s thing. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. But if you couldn't tell by the hair, I think it still is 1977. Renault Espace F1. It's so Renault, but Formula One car engine into an Espace, isn't it, really? A set of rally window name decals somewhere I've not put on. Do it. Seriously, Cody, do it. It's just a cool little thing. It's just cool. Will I ever buy an EP3 Civic Type R? If I do buy a Honda, and I'd like to have a Honda one day, it won't be an EP3. I'd have an EK, and I'd put a B6 in it. EP3 Type Rs are very, very good, but they do little for me. I don't know what it is. They're just not as exciting as an EK or the newer stuff. I'd like to have a white Peugeot 306 Rally with Peugeot Sport stickers. Oh, that would be cool. Go faster stripe on my Aveo, yay or nay? Is there anything else done to it? Because I think go faster stripe on an otherwise standard car, not to everyone's taste. But then you've got an Aveo, which is already not to everyone's taste. So if you want it, do it. That's my ultimate advice for car modification. If you like it, do it. Renault Espace or Multipla? Multipla because you always play Team Fiat, but nothing wrong with an Espace. I'll take an Espace any day. I'm not your typical 21-year-old, am I? Exactly, Cody. If you like a car, make it your own. Polo GTI, Christopher Vermack, probably not. VW generally does not much for me. R53 Cooper S, yeah, big fan. I've driven it all. Is it still called an R53 if it's a Cooper, or is it an R50 if it's a Cooper? I've driven one. They're good fun. Wrap black badges and different centre caps. Oh, so you've done a little bit. Yeah, put your centre, go on, put your racing stripe on your Aveo and send us all a picture when it's done, because it's different, frankly. Different is good in my book. My neighbour has a Daewoo Matiz 0.8 litre. Oh, that's that wicked little car. I love the Matiz. Oh, Citroen t-shirt, by the way. As always, repping the team. I think we're pretty much done. I'm not seeing any more questions coming in, but I just wanted to, those of you that are, just as I say that, there's more questions. Favourite air-cooled classic, Fiat 126, closely followed by a 2CV. Are they I'm going to look a right dick. They're not, are they air-cooled? Genuinely can't remember. That tells you my brain's just frazzled because I've been talking for an hour and 3/4 nearly. I can't think. Fiat 126, final answer. Hello from Hungary. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching. I'm not going to attempt to pronounce your name because I don't want to offend you. But thank you so much. Yes, I want to thank you all really, because whether you've joined from the very beginning or you've jumped in halfway through or you've only just jumped in now, this live stream has coincided with me hitting 6,000 subscribers pretty much. And that is incredible to think that this idiot who films stupid little videos on his old Italian cars and 6,000 people across the world subscribe and watch it and support. You know, it's only because of you lot that this is here at all. The fact that I'm still doing YouTube, I would anyway, even if no one watched it, I'd still do it because I enjoy it. But the fact that so many of you are here, that I feel justified in doing a live stream, and there's constant questions and constant comments from people because so many of you enjoy it and so many people support you in what I, or support me in what I do, is amazing. So thank you all so much. The first 6,000 subscribers in the first 3 years nearly of Miller Corner have been amazing. And from here, there's more to come. There's plenty more to come. Next week, there'll be a video on the Alpha, hopefully, the last fixes on the GTV, and then there is something big coming for the Alpha, and it's totally different. We've never done it before, and it's a bit special, and it's for the greater good of more than just me and my channel. I've literally just seen in the comments, Cody, thank you for your little donation, my friend. That is amazing. Thank you so much. And again, that testifies to me that the Miller Corner community, that you lot are incredible. Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate it. Everyone who is watching now, who tuned in, everyone who's watched anything I've ever done, thank you so much. Massively, massively appreciated. When you see me next, I will be in pre-recorded, not live form, and I still won't have had a haircut, but then the time after that, I will have a haircut. What's my favourite dinner? The nearest one, which for me is pasta bake with pork belly slices. I'm going to go have that now. Thank you all so much for watching. Massive thanks. Have a wicked weekend. Stay safe. Speak to you soon. And as always, have a good one.